for me, okay, I think that's right. I think we sometimes don't really decide that until there's a problem. What do I believe? Got to deal with it. But for my personality, I don't think it's acceptable for me inside to not have my beliefs lined up. I don't like, it would make me feel very uncomfortable to not be able to say, well, I believe this, I believe that, and here's why, and whatever. So when I do that, when I don't know, I got to figure out an answer. And I do that almost by, I do it just by my life. So I'm going along down the road and I hear something and I think, So I'm constantly trying to reinforce my decisions. And I think for me, there's a lot of cognitive dissonance involved. So I'm trying to say, okay, well, do I really believe that? Or what would make me change? Why am I solid in that? Why am I not? And I do it constantly. And it just, to me, it isn't acceptable for me not to have some belief. Now, I also think I'm open to change. I do. But I think you're going to have to sell me on it. You're going to have to figure out, and I'm going to challenge what you're saying if you're challenging my beliefs. So I want to have those core values, but I want to be open to learning something new. But there's some things that my old Irish stubbornness, I'm probably not going to change.
There's non-negotiables.
And I don't apologize for that, but I still will listen to you.
Yeah.
And I think some of that comes from what I said about us growing up, because we have very diverse views of the 9 kids that were involved at that dinner table. Mm-hmm. And we have very different beliefs and very different, whether it be political or religious or whatever, as we've grown. But we still know how to talk to each other about that and learn from each other and kind of, you know, I don't want to give up anything, but I'll listen to you, and I might give a little. It might take me a while. I think one of the most important principles I've ever learned as I train salesmen or am selling or live in my life is that principle of cognitive dissonance. So why do I believe it, and what would make me believe that, and then how would I change it? Maybe not, but there are ways to get me to change.
That sounds very purposeful, that you're actually making a conscious effort to think about what it is that you believe, and are you living it? Your actions are aligning with your words.
And it's minor stuff as well as big stuff. You know, we do it every day. So I use a certain pin because I like it. So if somebody gave me a different pin, I may throw it away. Or if they gave me the right pin, I might try it, but then I don't want to change. We don't like to change our beliefs. We don't like to change what our history was. But sometimes you have to, because something upsets you, because somebody doesn't live up to what you believe, because you fail and say, wow, I really failed at this. I've got to reevaluate. Or somebody comes right in your face and says, you're not doing what you think you're doing. You're wrong. And you think, you know, they may be right. Maybe I'm not. I don't know.
For me, you gave a lot of examples of what happens on top of the belief structure. I would have wanted to ask this young man or this gentleman that came to you and say, where were you as a 5-year-old? Where were you as a 15-year-old? What was your structure of your family? Because so much of our belief system, so much of that grid work of how we process thought is built in us very early, and it becomes part of an autopilot programming of our brain that guides how we process. So when you say someone's going to come at me and I'm going to listen to what they say, everything that they tell you is going to go through that filter of what got placed in your brain years ago. So it takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of direction to drill down into that, to say what was planted there and what have I built on it. My core religion belief, that the religion that I grew up in and that I still consider that doctrine sound, is 100% anti-homosexual. That is not acceptable in any form. But over the years, in my learning and in my reaching out to people, that is a thing. And for me to judge that other person is to judge a friend, is to judge a family member, and that feels very wrong. And that's the cognitive dissonance of, I've got to drill down and see where was that framework, and do I still want to adhere to that?